In the dark, creatures crawl into the underworld. Afterlife, an abyss protects you. In the light, goddess of the sun brings you life. A deity, best it is her name. Come learn the ways of man, become one with the sand. The fate is in your hands. It's time to fight. You will rise, not fall. Never lose hope on the ground. We are one for all. The truth will always conquer. Get to the earth, chasing your mark. Get like mystical formation. Turn on the walls, beat on the drums. Let us claim this is war. In the dark, a river flows. The Nile is Obelisk power. The morning star is seen in our sight. In the light, find your desert altar and your shrine. Look for peace, defeat the enemy. Run to the obelisk, defend this legacy. Fly to your destiny. It's time to fight. You will rise, not fall. Never lose hope on the ground. We are one for all. The truth will always conquer. Get to the earth, chasing your mark. Get like mystical formation. Turn on the walls, beat on the drums. Let us claim this. We rise, reach for the sky. Hold on to your weapons with pride. We rise up higher, conquer the ark. Get ready to fight for your life. We rise up. We are the kings, we are the queens. We are the gods, gods to solve this animation. Turn on the walls, making our mark. 'Cause we are the kings, we are the queens. Let's win this war.
Hello, governors. Welcome to Osiris League Season 8 Playoff Finals Game 2. I'm your host, Plato Gaming, caster and content creator for Rise of Kingdoms, and casting alongside me today is Dirty Dan. Thanks for being here with me, man.
Thank you. It's good. Sad to miss a week last week, but glad to be back with you and casting this round 2. A very pivotal match here. So it's gonna be pretty interesting to see how these teams react after last week.
Yeah, we are back for round 2 of the finals, and as you said, unlike the previous rounds, this is game 2 of a best of 3 series, meaning that these teams are back at it for round 2, fighting for the crown of Ark of Osiris League champions. The match that we are casting today will be in the realm of Horus finals, 93T from 1093 versus 16OT from Kingdom 1316. 93T have been dominant in the realm of Horus for the past 2 seasons, being champions of the realm last season and making it to the finals this season, while 16OT are the rising stars of the realm of Horus, making it to the finals for the first time, beating the likes of WIB on their way to the top. And in Game 1 last week, 93T was able to show their prowess and won convincingly against 16OT. So the question today is, will 93T be able to claim the crown of champions, of Osiris League champions with a win today, or will 16OT bring us to match point in Game 3? Dirty Dan, what are your thoughts of this matchup? What do you think?
So I think this is definitely going to be all eyes on 16OT after kind of a blowout loss. How do you come back and respond? This kind of falls on your planners a little bit. How do we go back and kind of and readjust some things that we, maybe saw some deficiencies in last week that we can kind of retweak and come back a little bit stronger. It's tough though. I mean, with how good 1093 is in Arc and just having the ability to practice with all of the other teams that are from within their kingdom, really kind of gives them a leg up. But I do believe all eyes on 16 OT this week to kind of say, hey, what did you guys do to improve from last week's performance? Did you watch a little bit of film? What tendencies can you fix? And then I think we're gonna see maybe some trickery potentially. So I would say maybe looking for those to the deaths opening on the first arcs, potential maybe Obelisk plays in the beginning. So it's definitely going to be interesting. My eyes are definitely on 16 OT this week to see how they can respond.
Yeah, I mean, last week was, as you said, pretty dominant from 93T. If you lose arcs in terms of arc score, if you lose occupation score, if you lose those two things, you usually lose the game, which is what 16OT lost. So they definitely will be looking at the drawing board. And, what people say is in a loss, you have more to learn than in a win. So hopefully they were able to gain some new insights and some new knowledge so that they can be and kind of beat 93T in some different capacity, as you said. I will say, though, to the death in the first arc seems to be a new meta because I feel like in the past 3 matches that I've watched, to the death in the first arc has been kind of the staple, but only 489 was actually able to win the fight with to the death. So we'll have to see how 16OT adjusts versus 93T and how 93T will be able to, if 93T will be able to repeat what happened. Because 16OT, I mean, I'm sure they're proud to be in the finals, but to be so close, this game is everything. This game is their season for them. So we will have to see what happens in this game. I will say though, 93T has been kind of the staple of Horus the past couple of the past year essentially, where I feel like their outer lane plays, 93T just attacking the outer lane before the first arc spawns has been, I guess, like their staple. They were pretty much one of the first teams I've seen really focus on those sky altars and the shrines of lives before the arc spawns. I wonder how 16OT will respond there, because they lost the first arc, they lost the second arc, and they were able to win the third arc, but by the time that they got that third arc, the game was over. So 16OT definitely have to do something, and they've definitely been in the drawing boards.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see. I mean, we've been talking about it all season long, and I remember when you had first called it out to me, and I've played in Osiris Leagues before, and I just that aspect of going for the outside lanes is something that we're going to start to see more regularly. That's kind of going to be like that another kind of like opening move of sorts, like what we normally see people diving for the desert altar and trying to take the enemies. Or I think we're going to start to see a lot more become a staple is that outside lane play, as you were talking about. And now it's going to see how our team's going to respond and who's going to kind of come up with the next thing, right? Who's going to come up with that next meta, I guess, tendency that we have in these Osiris League and Arc plays. So I'm very curious to see if 16OT is going to respond appropriately on that, because we've talked about it ad nauseum of how important that is to kind of defend that right before your first arc, because first arc is the tone setter in these matches. And if you don't get the first arc, you really are kind of left handicapping and at the mercy of the enemy while they hold that thing.
Yes, sir. As we get into the game here, we have 93T in the top left corner, starting to teleport in. A lot of familiar names in here. 93T not only being an Osiris League team, but also being one of the best, if not the best kingdom in Rise of Kingdoms right now in KVKs. And we have 16OT, and 16OT, I feel like they're definitely not as popular as 93T, but they've definitely been on the come up. I believe they have 9 stars, or
Yeah, I was
they
gonna
have
say
a
nine.
lot of KVK wins.
Yeah.
Oh, you could see up here. They have the moon and 9 stars, and 4 stars, meaning 9 stars altogether. I actually have some history with 16OT. They were allied with us the last time we won KVK.
Very
Like,
nice.
a million years ago in 2268.
I was gonna throw that in, but it's still early.
Yo, you gotta diss yourself before everyone else can start. You know what I mean? With our 4 loss streak. As the game will start in a minute here. What do you expect to see, Dirty Den, in this opening sequence here?
Oh boy. I think if I'm 16OT and you know that you have to obtain control of this match very early, maybe we see something a little unfamiliar, and maybe we don't see quite the push that we see onto some of these desert altars. Maybe we see a little bit more conservative play, or maybe we see a total opposite and we see them just go full aggro to try and kill those marches off as fast as possible, to secure that middle positioning for Arc. So I think on this opening, it's going to be definitely interesting to see if they're going to play a little bit more conservative or a little bit more aggressive, but all eyes are going to be on that first Arc fight, as that's going to dictate the rest of the match.
As the gates have fallen, energetic used by both teams, and we have 6 rallies, 3 rallies each. Interesting. Not the 4 rallies, but maybe they're strong side Obelisk. They decided that they could just walk there. As you can see, the march is starting to come out here from 16OT, also from 93, from 93T. You see the first couple of outposts be captured, and this is the best of the best Osiris League in Horus. You know, 16OT definitely being kind of a surprise, where people expected JST to be that second team, and then JST lost to Wib, and then people expected Wib to be that second team, and then 16OT beating Wib. So
Yeah,
we'll have to see how that happens.
It's a nice come up from 16OT being ranked 11th last season in this same realm. So it's a really nice come up for them. You know, putting it all on the line here in a winner go home match for these championship rounds. So regardless of the outcome, I think we've gotten a really great Osiris League in this realm of Horus so far. And huge shout outs to 16OT for the vast improvement that they've had. You know, moving from rank 11th to rank 2, potentially 1, shouldn't speak too soon, is quite the feat. So this is gonna be nice.
We could start to see some of these sentry placements. We got 93T with the full Desert Altar sentry here, just seeing all the marches from the Desert Altar. They also have kind of a defensive sentry on this outer lane here, just to make sure that 16OT can't see their outer lane plays. And 16OT kind of mirroring that Desert Altar sentry, where they see exactly how many marches are going towards their Desert Altar, but they have no idea how many marches from 93T are in this outer lane. And there are a lot of marches, but it does look like they have the human sentry here with the double C, just making sure, hey, we have full vision, we should be able to see all of the marches come in. They just got a glimpse, if they're awake here, on Ken's marches next to this sky altar, so they should have complete vision of what's going on. But it does look like that 93T is doing their classic outer lane strategy play that we were referring to earlier in this cast.
It looks like a 50-50 split too. It looks like there's and maybe if a little bit more on that outside lane too. So really unique to see. And like I said, it's going to be fun to see if this does become a meta thing that a lot of other teams decide to pick up and do, kind of this 50-50 split on one side, you know?
Yeah. Especially since it's a Shrine of Life. I don't think most teams would defend their Shrine of Life that crazily. They would kind of expect that the altar would be contested. But 93T saying, hey, look, we could give up our shrine and play defensively in this Desert Altar area. I will say it does look like 16OT do have more marches around their own Desert Altar, so that should be pretty safe. But the Shrine of Life kind of looks, exposed here in terms of the amount of marches allocated to defend the Shrine of Life here. Shrine of Life, for those that don't know, is a more important shrine. It gives health and march speed versus defense and attack for the Shrine of War in the inner lane. So
it does look like on that top side though, it looks like 16OT has done their homework, because they 93 was kind of splitting off on the top side as well, trying to push that Sky Altar, but it looks like 16OT has done their homework and is trying to prevent that from happening. So as we said, how are you going to make these adjustments? And it looks like 16OT has learned on this 93 outside lane play here.
yeah, there you go. We have the first Murder Wall fight of this match, 93T versus 16OT outside of the Sky Altar. It looks like they will be able to capture the Sky Altar pretty handily here. This is a interesting strat from 16OT. 93T just kind of wrapping around, and the Murder Ball is flipped, where 16OT is coming from the left and 93T is coming from the right. 16OT actually able to get a march in early though for 93T's in 93T's Desert Altar rather. So it looks like I don't know what to make of this, Dirty Dan, because this is probably the first time I've ever seen such a tactic.
Well, again, I think that's just kind of going back and it's on both teams too, because you have to know that you're going to get scouted on, so you have to kind of adjust some of these tendencies that you do when you open up. So 16OT maybe doing their homework here and knowing that they have to kind of position themselves a little bit differently.
Yeah, as we start to see the Shrine of Life attack that we were referring to earlier, they did get the Garrison in there, the Gorgo, holding pretty well, but it was swarmed down. So 93T, yet again, with the outer lane shenanigans, able to get the Shrine of Life. Arc is going to be spawning in 6 minutes, and now, as 16OT, you have to make the decision. Do we start sending marches to this outer lane and start clearing out this 93T Murder Ball? Or do we just ignore this, give them their first occupation points? It's just 400 points. It's nothing. It's quite a chunk here. And then start rotating mid, and because it's all about timings essentially for this first arc fight.
Yeah, I think even too for these first arcs, because you are going to have a nice chunk of players coming back from home base too. I think you really want that Shrine of Life and that little extra march speed to try and hustle some of your troops up from that starting base. So the points on top of the march speed, I think that's one that they're going to want to try and get back.
I will say though, 16OT still holding this Desert Altar. They're able to take it back from 93T, which took their initial capture. We have 2 minutes 30 seconds, and these Desert Altars mean a ton, because 750 points, we're talking about 400 points is pretty good. 750 first occupation points, just giving that over to your opponents is going to be absolutely huge. The Shrine of War on the other side looks like it's pretty uncontested, and at this top side, the two Murder Balls are around the Sky of Life. I mean, Sky Altar rather, Sky of Life, and the Desert Altar. But yeah, it does look like 16OT able to clear out the Murder Ball, but it looks like they're going to give up the Desert Altar control. Not enough marches, and they're going to send the marches back to the Shrine of War instead. Overall, I feel like the structures here are pretty stable, except for the Shrine of Life, which 93T, they do have the Garrison in there. They got the Jan in there. Definitely trying to hold this, but 16OT swarming it down. And Dan, with this outer lane focus that we've been seeing, I feel like we're going to be seeing some pretty late rotations from these two teams, at least for these outer lane individuals.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I'm like, it's just ticking down. I'm counting the marches, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's still quite a few marches for 16OT, but still decent presence for 93 as well. So yeah, we're going to see a little bit of probably a later setup on this first arc than we are used to seeing for sure.
I will say though, it does look like 93T coming with the force here. 3 minutes 45 is actually not bad for a rotation. Able to retake all of their structures, able to even attack some of these Shrine of Life structures as well with the Joan of Arc Garrison. That is, I know you're a Cav main, Dirty Dan, but I don't know if Joan of Arc Garrison is it.
That's not what you want right there, and that even more so is not what you want after using all those resources to try and take that Shrine of Life back, and then you lose it because you don't have the garrison ready. And we were just talking about on the rotation, look at all these troops that 16OT is having to commit and not bring to the middle because they need to get this Shrine of Life back. That is a huge blow for 16OT, and what a move by 93 to take that Shrine of Life back, even just for those couple extra little seconds there.
Yeah, and these marches from 93T just able to sad face on the cities. The marches from 16OT, I mean, they'll probably both rotate mid at the same time because they have to walk back and all that kind of stuff. But you could see kind of the tempo advantage from 93T, like clockwork, able to be here. Just so many marches around. Teardown used by 93T as well on the Sky Altar. Wow. Okay. Teardown, for those that don't know, there is going to be units attacking the structure, I believe, gain extra attack. Increases attack of allied troops when attacking a structure by 40%. So they are going for these outer lane plays while also going mid. And this is what we were talking about, Dirty Dan, about how 93T is able to win both mid and the structure game at the same time. I was actually looking at the outposts. All these outposts were just recaptured, but it was in 93T's control for quite a while there. And you could see that I feel like in terms of overall pressure in the pressure game, 93T has definitely been ahead so far.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think what we're seeing here and what I've seen, and maybe you can attest to it too from watching so much Osiris League, this is the difference of teams, of a team that practices so much and then a team that might just kind of practice a little bit less. You know, it just the moves and the timing and the rotations, everything from 93 just looks so on key to when they need to do it, and that all comes from practice. It just looks like 93 just practices a little bit more.
Yeah, it's there is definitely a lot of stuff that goes into Osiris League, and just being such an experienced team, right? And maybe it comes from experience as well, just knowing the timers. And we'll have to see for this first mid fight. We still have some of 16OT coming in here. 93T honestly could walk into this murder ball, and I feel like they could wipe it whenever they need to, just because of the late rotation. The arc is going to be spawning in 45 seconds, so sneaky tactics used by 16OT.
Ooh.
Interesting. And master strategies. What is going on here?
Hey.
Oh,
yeah.
Are they going for the obelisks here, Dirty Dan? I feel like they're going for the obelisk.
I think they are.
I mean, you were talking about how they need to do some sneaky plays. The mid fight did start, but let's go ahead and take a look at this obelisk here. I feel like this is going to be more interesting. 16OT going for broke.
I think they're going on both sides actually too. Sneaky tactics on the one side. Oh my gosh.
They are going for these obelisks, Dirty Dan.
Wow. Yep, this is what you need to do. I mean, with just purely because of how big the gap was last week, you have to do something like this because you kind of have this feeling that you're going to get outmatched. And we were just talking about that in those first opening moves. It kind of did look like 93 is outmatching 16OT, and this is the move that you kind of need to do.
Yeah, I mean, they were outmatching them. We said that they were ahead of tempo, but we didn't see this obelisk as an objective that 16OT is trying to take here.
Let alone both.
Yeah, both obelisks are under contention. I think the top side will struggle a bit more because they had to walk all the way over. They were actually engaged in a murder ball before Sneaky Tactics was used on this top side. But it feels like 16OT think if they capture all four obelisks, it's like the golden snitch of Osiris League here with how much pressure they're putting onto these obelisks. But they were able to take the first one, the top one, and it looks like this bottom side obelisk is also going to fall for 93T. So Dirty Dan, what do you get for gaining control of these obelisks if you're 16OT?
Oh man, this is. I've never been great at this, to be honest. But I mean, you're gonna get some more teleports. You're gonna get into this enemy territory. You got to work on the balance. So the balance is always extremely hard, especially if this is something that they've never practiced before. Because now you're splitting up your team. So this can be obviously very good for them, but it could also be bad. So even though they're gonna probably have some cities into this enemy territory now, they still have to play this arc match, and now being split. So their voice comms are gonna have to be on point in terms of what they are going to be doing for the rest of this match, as their teams and sides are going to be getting split up a little bit here now.
Yeah, I will say, as a 400 million powered player on this obelisk, you're definitely not swarming that city down to teleport it out. So these cities that are already here are here to stay, all of them pretty much eclipsing 100 million power. And so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of pressure could the cities that teleport in here provide, or are they just trying to teleport in the cities that are back at home base into their side of the obelisk and their obelisk and try to get some extra teleports? I don't think that's going to be worth giving a first arc and 3 altars, though, as they were able to take the desert altar. They did take control of the sky altar for a little bit, and you can see that the point lead just through occupations is growing about 2k plus the arc. That's going to be a 5k differential. They have to somehow make back 5k with this obelisk play. The first obelisk was captured back. The second obelisk is about to flip here. We have 5 seconds until this obelisk flips, and it does look like they will be able to get some teleports. But 93T, look at what they're doing. They're trying to block the teleport spots. They were able to get one in. Mr. Tiger from 16OT. Looks like another city coming in from 16OT. And these are really powerful cities. 228 million power, 300 million power. I mean, these teams definitely trained up for this arc fight, right? They definitely trained up for these finals with how much power these guys have. But you can see that. Okay, you teleported here, but what's the game plan? What's the play?
I think to your point now is, this works on teams where, those cities may be a little less than 100 million power. We can potentially zero them out, but you're not zeroing these cities out. So now it's okay. Now we got to play disruption. Now we got to, start digging in and taking care of some of these marches before they can get onto the field, and just pretty much running as a distraction. And then also to your point too, of eating up some of that teleport space to kind of deny 93T of some more advanced cities coming up for the later portions of the match. But again, to the point, 16OT still has to play this arc match and kind of go back and make up that point differential that you're talking about. Go back, get your altars back, go back and get ready for arc, which 93T has cashed. So I like the play. I just don't know if it's enough here.
Yeah. 4 altars, arc, 5k point differential to teleport 2 cities in. You know what I mean? But as you said, in the beginning of the match, they had to make some Hail Mary play. Their mid rotation was really, really late. They were losing their altars regardless. So you got to try something. But we'll have to see what the benefit is having those 2 cities in. Or if you could look at the map here, 720 points per minute for 130 points per minute. I mean, I think that paints a clear picture towards who won that trade overall. And honestly, that's going to be one of the biggest strengths, I feel like, for 93T as a team. No matter what, there's something happening at every point of the map. They never go all in for mid. They never go all in for structures. They always find the weaknesses, the little touch points that are not as contested. And 93T just somehow get these advantages. And you could see that they're trying to get these advantages right now by just consistently attacking the outposts, consistently attacking these sky altars. And in this case, just defending against 16OT in the cities here. Like, they have so many marches around this obelisk, but they still have control of their own structures as well. They had control of the opponent desert altar, 16OT's desert altar for a little bit, although it was just captured back. I don't know, man. It's gonna be pretty tough. I guess the biggest benefit is that these cities from 16OT can harass and attack 9-3T marches as they get out of their cities for this next mid fight. But in my opinion, if 16OT loses the next mid fight, I don't know what is the play for them.
Yeah, I that's the beauty of Arc. the pains and the beauty of Arc, because it really is like I highly enjoy everything about Osiris League and Arc of Osiris in general. Of, you know, all these timings. It's such a timing based thing. It's a beautiful game, but if you fall behind early like this, there's almost no coming back. It's extremely unforgiving in the early stages. Like if you falter early on, you can probably pretty much kiss the match, you know, goodbye. And you can do that within the first 15 minutes of the match. And we've seen here, we're closing in on 25 minutes and we're already talking about that there's a potential that this thing is over. So it's a very unforgiving mode. It's a beautiful game. It's a beautiful match, but it's so unforgiving. So I don't know if they lose this second arc. I don't know if there's really anything 16OT can do to get back into this thing.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, right? There's no golden snitch in Ark of Osiris. It's a game where you slowly but surely generate points, gain these small advantages, and at the end of the game, whoever got the most advantages, got the most points, wins within that certain time limit. So they just somehow have to stabilize their structures, which is what they've done, and they have to start attacking these opponent structures, which they are also doing. So 16OT, they're doing the right things. We're starting to see some marches rotate mid. I think this next mid fight will determine if 16OT will be able to continue on with this game or if it'll be a complete domination for 9-3T.
Yeah, they are definitely doing the right steps. And to your point, how fun would that be? We get a little golden snitch mode maybe in Osiris League, because it happens quite often. I have to say. I mean, from partaking in as many Arc matches and Osiris League games that I've played, you know, it does happen more often than not that you get blown in the beginning of the match and you're kind of like stuck there, and the team's kind of like, all right, well, what do we do now? So that would be a nice little wrinkle. You know, we got armaments with march speed now, so you know you can put those into play a little bit better. So who knows? Maybe down the road.
Oh my goodness. Well, there you go. But you could see that they're trying to take these sky altars. They're trying to take these structures. You could see all of the structures blinking right now for 9-3T. So it might look like they're trying to come back with the structure game. But as we were saying, 9-3T sending some forces to the desert altar, making sure that they can't capture this for free. Sending some forces to the sky altar. So this is exactly what I was talking about, where they don't give anything for free. You're not going to take things for free from 9-3T. There's going to be a give and take. There's going to be always some pushback. And they're defending the priority structures, which is the altars, with troops and sending everyone else mid.
Yeah, they're just so good. It's kind of what we saw a few weeks ago. I can't remember the team off the top of my head. But again, it kind of goes back to their practice. Like you can just see how experienced these guys are, and just kind of like it's like clockwork for them. It's almost muscle memory at this point, that they don't even need to think about the next moves that they do. Even when a monkey wrench gets thrown into their plans and they have someone sitting at the obelisk that can potentially disrupt them, like you said, that you're never going to get anything for free with these guys.
Yeah, you could see the people at the obelisk. They're taking a shot at the marches, but then the march is just walking straight mid. They're like, all right, well, we lost like 10k. Well, that sucks. Let's start walking mid. There are some people, you know, taking care of them, but ultimately most of the march is going mid undisturbed. So we will have to see how this mid fight will go. If, as I said, 16OT have to win this for them to come back in this match.
Yep, this is absolute must win. I'm surprised to not see a more of an all-in call for this arc.
I mean, yeah, it's tough because when you're ahead, you have all the control, right? When you're ahead, you could just go full buildings win the game. You could just go full mid, win the game. It looks like 16OT trying to bait out the fight right now. We have Bog Down, Dust Up used by 93T, and To the Death used by 16OT. This is their make or break. This is their match here, as the Arc did spawn. So even if they win this mid fight, though, they will 93T rather will have a free pull, just absolutely free pull from the back here. There are some marches trying to dive the Arc carrier, but I don't know, man. This is a late fight for 16OT, and the Arc carrier was able to get a decent pull towards their side.
Yeah, gotta get chasing now. Gotta get chasing, chase that thing down, and you know, gotta secure this thing right here. It does look, I want to say there's a decent amount of red.
Yeah, they're, I mean, they got to pull. They have the Arc right now.
There you go.
16OT and Haro pulling it towards their side. So the counter pull being super effective, able to pull it back into this Bog Down. But this mid fight looks primarily blue if we were to look at the dots. The sad face is coming out from 16OT. It's not a complete domination from 93T, but it was enough to get the job done to where they were able to get some complete control of this arc by the end of things here. As the last couple of marches from 16OT look like they are starting sad face, and 93T able to get this pull back. I believe they have an arc carrier. I don't know if the guy knows that they have the arc. This CPO just consistently open fielding with the arc. There you go. Now you got the memo. He's moving. They're moving now. Really strong mid fight, and they're also able to hold their structures as well. It looks like to me, Dan, both teams not fully committing to that mid fight, but 93T, as we were talking about, Arc isn't about how fast you win, but it's all about if you win or not, right? Because even if you hold a structure with one troop, you still gain the same amount of points if you held it with, you know, being super dominant. So able to take this arc. It is a slow arc carrier though, and it does look like there are some 16OT marches walking over towards this arc, although 43 seconds to get towards this desert altar. I feel like this arc is going to be free, and it is going to be a huge point gain for 93T.
Yeah, if this caches, I'm gonna have to say it's probably. I mean, there's really not much 16OT can do on this front without cashing in this arc and getting those precious points, because although they can kind of keep, it seems that they can kind of keep the structure game a little bit more even now, now that they've kind of like stabilized a little bit after that those opening moves that 93 put on them. It's not going to be enough. They need so much points to overcome this deficit now, and it goes to beg the question, you know, was that play worth it? You know, should they have maybe waited, or did they have another play option that they could have potentially done? So 16OT is putting a little bit of pressure on this thing though, so good on them. They have to go all in for this arc too. It's good to see that they have some players on this right now.
Yeah, I mean, they were able to contest the arc, deny the free pull, and then pull it towards their side, delaying the arc capture, which is why it was not dominant from 93T. The open field was dominant, but the arc control was actually pretty contested, and it's still contested right now, as we see 16OT sending marches towards this arc. And hey man, this is not over. I still feel like there are more marches from 16OT than 93T. Last season, I'll bring up, 93T was able to win against JST with an arc steal. Will 16OT be able to come back from this match, kind of even things out here with this arc, because
lots of
they
troops,
have a lot of control around this arc, And
With the
there are a
rally.
lot of marches coming in from 93T trying to stabilize, but the rally taking this Desert Altar, this is their pathway to come back right now. Desert Altar taken by 16OT. 16OT with a lot of open field marches. Dirty Dan, we were sleeping on this match, but this is a comeback angle from 16OT. This is their golden snitch.
Got to get this thing in here. But there is a lot of open field, as you were mentioning, for 16OT going and pushing up to prevent those 93T marches from coming down onto the arc carrier. They got to hold this altar while they do this as well. Can't sleep on holding that altar.
The arc has dropped. Will 16OT be able to get this first pull, or will a hero from 93T be able to actually pull it away? It is 16OT. 16OT, Joan of Arc with the arc. Coming into this Desert Altar. Oh my goodness. This Joan of Arc is so slow. Able to inch it towards that arc, towards that Desert Altar rather. But this arc is still fully under contention. Everyone just trying to tap it, trying to make sure that they get that first pull. If 93T is able to get a pull, that's minus around 12 seconds that could have went towards going to this Desert Altar. And 93T able to get that first pull, able to deny another 10 seconds of this arc. The longer this fight goes, the worse it is for 16OT, because 16OT's refreshes are so far away compared to 93T.
You can see the Valiant
But 16OT
thrown on that altar too.
93T, bro, you got the arc. You gotta move. The Joan of Arc is open fielding with the arc right now. Joan of Arc down. Joan of Arc down. The arc is down. It looks like both teams here focusing on the open field fight rather than trying to take this arc. 16OT is literally 10 seconds away from the Desert Altar. Able to take the arc. Haro with the arc, with the Huaki Bing. Will they be able to get in? Will they be able to get in this Desert Altar? They captured it.
Nice.
Dirty Dan, we have a match.
There you go.
We have a match. 16OT able to steal the arc from 93T's hands. 93T being so confident, saying that, hey, we don't need to defend this arc. This game's over. 16OT saying no. We still have it in us. 25 minutes. Down by 3.6k. Anything is possible with this third arc that is going to be spawning in 7 minutes.
Gotta say props to 16OT on that too. All the while this is happening, still maintaining a points per minute advantage on the board for occupations. So still creeping back up with the occupation points and also capping the arc. So very job well done to stabilize after a very kind of wonky opening for 16OT.
The game was in 93T's control. They had the arc. But, you know, we were talking about how 93T, they're everywhere all at once. You know what I mean? They have control of the whole map. But 16OT is saying, hey, if you're everywhere, then we're just going to send all our troops in one area, take this arc, and get back into this game.
That was brilliant for 16. I honestly didn't think that they were going to be able to bring up all those troops and take that arc right there. That was brilliant from 16OT.
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge play just from the marches. Haro being that carrier, just able to bring that arc to this Desert Altar. And now if you're 93T, I would be kind of frazzled, because I would think that this match was already over. Winning that second arc, you know, winning occupations throughout the whole series, essentially. But now we're back to a one arc game, to where if 16OT is able to repeat the magic twice, they will actually be in the lead with another arc here. I will say though, they did commit to the death. We still have 2 question marks on 93T's skill bar. Full, all the skills used by 16OT. 2 of them are one-use skills, which is master strategies and to the death. So the only thing that they have for mid is dust up. They have sneaky tactics, but those are their only 2 skills that are fighting skills. We still have 2 skills for 93T. So This next mid fight is going to be such a tough mid fight for 16OT. But if they're able to get it, then this game is right back in their hands.
Yeah, great point. I was just going to call that out too. With 93T is going to have some kind of to the death or something in their bag for this next mid fight. So 16OT has to bring everything in the kitchen sink for this mid fight. And this is where that play in the beginning could potentially deter them, because they're not going to have two players to get into this mid fight now. They're not going to have Tiger, they're not going to have Kiss, who are still over by the Obelisk trying to deter things. So they have to make enough of a disruption on those players going into mid to make up for the difference that they aren't going to be there themselves.
93T, I feel like they learned from their mistakes. They're like, all right, we weren't dominant in that second mid fight. We kind of played around with 16OT. Starting to bring the cavalry and the infantry and the archers to this mid. 4 minutes 30 seconds until the arc spawns, but we have 93T bringing everyone here. This game is very much still in 93T's control. They have the lead. They have the skill advantage from what we were talking about. So 16OT will have to make some magic here with this third fight. I will say, there's the 16OT has barely been in control of their own outposts, and I know they don't generate that many points, 30 points per minute for each, but at this point, you need as many points per minute if you're 16OT. Just trying to make the game as close as possible.
Every point is going to matter here, and I'm curious, and you know me, I love my provisions. I'm curious. I don't see many on the field, and I'm questioning. I guess because they're probably already down some players from the 16OT play on the Obelisk, of why there isn't any provisioners is probably why. But yeah, any points would be beneficial right now, and they need to hold on to everything right now. They can't afford to lose structures as we go into this third arc fight here.
They can't afford to lose structures as I watch the Sky Altar get taken by a 93T. But hey, I mean, at this point, if you're 16OT, I guess you say win arc, think about everything else later, because this is their way to come back here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 3
still
minutes left.
There's still enough time on the total board right now where they can cap this arc and then hold on to it, kind of to that point of, okay, let's just get this thing in our hands, and then we can take care of the rest afterward.
3 altars rather for 93T. We have 6 outposts. Yo, who is their outpost guy? This guy's just always taking every single outpost every single time. My goodness. The relentless outpost captures by 93T. As we see Dust Up used by 93T pretty early here. Dust Up in response by 16OT. So both these teams looking for around a 2-minute fight. Both teams still having some reinforcements coming through. More so for 16OT on this bottom side. 16OT taking positioning right next to the temple, so they won't have to dive into 93T's murder ball, which they had to last fight. Ooh, Dirty Dan. This arc fight is going to be the season for 16OT. Will it extend? Will they force a game 3? Or will 93T be able to take back their dominance, take back their glory, be back-to-back champions of Horus?
Good old Western standoff right here. Who's going to make the first move?
The staring contest. 16OT trying to bait out some of these marches, but 93T just being super disciplined. Look at the murder ball, just outside of a few stragglers, just moving around together in unison. 16OT doing the old classic stand here and wait. Waiting for 93T to go into them. They do have the positioning advantage, so It will have to be 93T going into 16OT's murder ball here. 16OT. Oh, there you go. 93T with the bog down. 16OT with the sneaky tactics. This is for the attack for the 30 marches because they don't have any other skills. We have Heaven's Grace used by 93T. Arc is going to be spawning in 20 seconds. And 93T have some marches in the back here. Some surprise marches coming from the flank to make sure that the arc carriers, even if they get a pull, don't have it for free.
Never get anything for free.
They have two people
93T.
here with marches in the backside here, making sure that they take down these arc carriers before they're able to get the arc. Who's going to get the pull? Is it going to be 93T in this top side? 2, 1. 93T with a pull. Instantly dropped though. Instantly dropped.
There's a lot of blue over there.
There's a lot of blue, a lot of red sad faces coming from 16OT. And I feel like 93T saw last arc. They're like, hey man, we're playing games. We didn't send everyone mid. This arc, we're going to be sending everyone mid. We're not going to be playing any games. We're going to be full ascending for this arc. And they have control. This is dominant. This is a dominant mid fight right here. Although it was a bit contested. Just instantly wiping down and having a free pull from 93T.
Can 16OT pull a repeat on from the second arc? Can they get this thing back and snipe it back?
Man, it's last time they had marches. Last time the mid fight was kind of even though 93T was able to win, but a lot of the 16OT marches from mid were able to pull off, go into Fog of War, and attack the arc carrier. In this case, 16OT just got fully wiped out. There's no one close to this arc. So I don't know if they'll be able to repeat, but they will have to if they want to get back in this match. Even if they capture the arc, they are down with these outposts, just generating 90 points per minute for the opponents. You can see the points per minute, 660 to 420.
Yeah.
They are down by about 4.8k. Even if they capture this arc, they're going to be down by 800 points. So just 93T able to get these small incremental advantages even as they full send mid.
Yeah, I mean, just not allowing 16OT to take anything for free, I think, is the mantra of this match. And 16OT has to send everything at this right now. They don't have any other skills on the board, and they are still at a disadvantage. Even if this went into a fourth arc, which that would be, the timings would be very tight. 93T still has a skill on the board that they can, so would still go into that next arc fight if there was one with the advantage still.
Dirty Dan, they're going into blind. This is why outposts are important.
Yep.
If you have all your outposts, you have true vision on the arc. But if you don't have your outposts, they did put down a sentry so that they could see. But if you don't have your outposts, then the arc can go into Fog of War and you don't exactly know where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
These 16OT marches, went into the fog blind. There's just a curtain of 93T marches coming through. If they try to go through these marches, it's gonna be cheese grater just getting instantly swarmed down. I think this arc is going to be in 93T's hands. They have a rally on this Obelisk, but the arc is literally right next to the city. They could go into the city whenever they want to, capture that arc. So it is going to be a controlled arc this time from 93T, making up for their past mistakes with that second arc.
Yeah, be curious to see if he just kind of dunks this thing. He probably going to run this down until there's no opportunity to spawn another arc. But I think with the lead advantage too, I think you could probably be safe to say they could just dunk it here and kind of coast off into hoisting that trophy again.
Yeah, if I had to guess, they're like, all right, we played around with 16 OT in that second arc. Let's not give them another opportunity. Oh, we see a Valiant stand used by 16 OT on this bottom side Sky Altar. But yeah, this is gonna be, I mean, unless they could somehow pull out 5k worth of provisions, and even then they have to hold control of 4 altars for an extended period of time. Like, that's the only way that they come back in with 13 minutes left. Arc control, 4k arc, in control of 933. So they're essentially down by 9k right now.
Yeah, it's still no, I'm losing the word for it. There's no importance on the outpost still, and they're letting these points slip away from them. And I know there's other things on the map, but if 93 has someone dedicated for these, you have to also kind of respect that and have someone assigned for these as well. So again, in these finals matches, all of the points matter. I know there's other things that they have to focus on, but as we've talked about for 93, these small incremental gains, they slowly add up over the course of an hour, and this is why they're going to come out on top.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, 93T, it's gonna be interesting if they win this match, and then there's gonna be the grand finals, which when they would face against the winners of Anubis, Sobek, Bassett. You know, from the winner of 489 and 60 GT, 930 against those guys, it's going to be a pretty interesting grand finals.
Be even a little bit more interesting too, the fact that those guys are going to be throwing down in KVK in a few weeks as well. So you have grand finals on the horizon. You got a really big KVK coming with all those kingdoms that you just mentioned, 960, 489, 2489 and 1093. So Lilith always kind of dusting on the drama for us a little bit, which is pretty nice here.
As we start to see the Sky Altar get swarmed down, it is looking like night for 16 OT.
Yeah,
a valiant effort, but without control of these altars of 933. 933 know exactly what they need to do. 16 OT, that is, to come back, right? I think that's one of the things that, as a good team, you look at your opponents and you're like, hey, how could they come back?
Yep.
The one thing that they could do is take control of 4 altars and hold it to the end of the game. So they're putting extra, pressure, extra troops towards these altars, saying, hey, let's hold these desert altars, let's hold these sky altars, take back the sky altar rather. Make sure that they can't generate some points, and you can see that they are losing in points per minute, but with the advantage that they have, 16 OT still won't win the game with this current state of the game.
Yeah, 93 knows, and I think, like as you said, that the heartbeat got racing a little bit on that second arc, and they kind of like, okay, hey, let's stop playing with our food, let's go in and take care of business. And you can definitely see that here now, and protecting those things, those structures that they know that they need to hold on to avoid any kind of sneaky comeback from 16 OT here.
Yeah, they are locked in. they are locked into trying to win this match right now. Just making sure that they take care of business here, because yeah, it got pretty dicey, as you were talking about that second arc. A 3.5k differential. that fourth arc, I mean, that third arc would have essentially made the game even right now, but just full sending towards that arc and getting that advantage. So absolutely dominant from them.
Really good showing from 16 OT to just to close that gap, because last week was, let's be real, that's kind of a blowout, and to kind of close this gap a little bit here is that's good on them. That, and we saw in the beginning of the match too, they opened up, they kind of focused a little bit more on those outer lanes. They did their homework, they came in, but just too much experience, I think, on the side of 1093, and it kind of goes to show too in the discussion of it does stink when you have, all of your kingdom's alliances in one side of the bracket, but just look at the amount of practice that a kingdom like 1093 can get in with 3-4 other Osiris League teams that are constantly making it in. You're going to be prepared for most scenarios, and you can see the experience on display here in this match, where it looks like 1093 is going to hoist that trophy yet again.
Yeah, I mean, they've always been knocking on the door of Horus, being denied by the likes of JST in the past, the likes of 1v. But with 1v not being a factor anymore in Horus, and JST being taken out by WIB, I think they also lost to 933 last season as well. 933 just taking the reins of Horus back-to-back seasons. So we will have to see how if they're going to be able to take the reins in the grand finals as well against whoever wins in Anubis, Sobek, and Basset. Man, this is I mean, I'm happy because I did put my Eye of Talents on 933T, so
there you go.
we're gonna get some value there at least. But really dominant from them, and we'll have to see if they could repeat it in KVK. As you said, this big KVK that's gonna be coming up, it's gonna be 2489 and 60 GT on their side versus 93T on their side. Man, that's gonna be a big KVK to watch for sure, as we start to see the Desert Ultra starting to go down here. But the point differential right now, the arc was captured, just showing that 8k points. I mean, unless you can gather every single caravan in the game, I don't know if there's a coming back from that deficit.
Yeah, no coming back here. I think this is where you might see a little bit of victory marches, a little bit of messing around. Anyone who's trying to claim those avatar frames, going for maybe those last little bit of kills, a little bit of resource gathering potentially. But this thing is definitely wrapped up for 93T, and looks like they are going to hoist that trophy yet again, back-to-back Realm of Horus champions with 6 minutes left. That smell of victory is knocking on the door for them.
Man, I mean, 1093 is seen as the best kingdom in the game right now, just being dominant in KVKs and showing. I mean, they did get tested against, I believe it was 1188 in the semifinals, but instead of that, I feel like a pretty dominant run for this Osiris League season. It's going to be interesting to see if they could win this KVK and then also win Grand Finals and potentially Grand Prix, as they did make it to the semifinals of Grand Prix as well, losing the 60 GT in that.
It's funny how the narrative flips, and it's good to see some parity too, because I think we saw 960 as the kingdom for almost, I want to say they had a really hot run of 2-3 years maybe ish, and now it's 1093, like you said, if they can pull this off here in the grand finals and walk away with the KVK dub, I mean, you're really looking at probably the best of the best, and probably really putting them on the mantle for how to kind of mimic that success in every facet of Rise of Kingdoms.
Yes, sir. As we start to see it's trickling down. 16OT though. Let's start talking about 16OT and 1316. Osiris League season, impressive win against WIB. A lot of people bet on WIB in that game. I think 16OT definitely showed that they showed the value of their kingdom. A lot of people probably didn't know who 16OT was and 1316 was before these matches, and now being in the finals, being a finalist is always something you put on the migration board. And I guess Dan, what's the benefit, you being in 2975, what's the benefit of being a successful kingdom in Osiris League, and or like what's the benefit to the kingdom rather?
Yeah, I mean, we touched on this a few weeks ago too, and it is a good call out, because I mean, I definitely didn't know of 1316 before this, and you know, for someone, I guess, who you can consider, I guess, I seek that high end gameplay. There's a few things that people look at when they want to migrate, right? I think first and foremost is, does this kingdom win KVKs? Do they have a culture of winning, right? Because I think a lot of people want to be a part of that, whether that's in game or real life, and we can see with 1316 having 9 KVK wins, looking for their 10th win, as they are actually in KVK right now as well. And then it goes to, okay, well, is this team proficient in Osiris League? And again, this is from like a high-end player standpoint. I want to say this is what I look for. And not necessarily like you might get onto the team or not, but it's just good to kind of be in that kind of culture, that kind of community of winning. You know, the vibes are always really good in kingdoms like that, and it definitely helps in multiple ways, right? Again, just kind of getting that notoriety out there, people just learning a little bit more about the kingdom, seeing them in action, and then I guarantee you now, like I said, 1316's in KVK right now. I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of eyes watching them in KVK and say, hey, maybe this is a kingdom that I can see myself being in. So there's definitely a lot of benefits of making these deep runs for your kingdoms in Osiris League.
Yes, sir. As we have a minute 40 left on the season for 16OT, down by 8K. I feel like they definitely performed better than last match. You could go ahead and take a look at the breakdown right now. Losing an arc and losing in occupation is always going to be tough. Winning in provisions yet again, though. You know, they at least got the provisioning down, but I mean, if you're 16OT, like what would you have done differently in this match, Dirty Dan?
Oof. Man, that's a tough call. I would say maybe just reevaluating the opening move on that first arc play. Maybe you take the approach of say maybe going with a to the death to open, and then forcing 93T to kind of mirror that if they maybe force that hand. But I mean, the rotations were still so late on that first arc. I don't know if that they would have been able to pull something off like that off. I think it just goes back to the beginning, and anyone who's looking to be an Osiris League coordinator, planning for your general arc of Osiris's, guys, the openings of these matches are so crucial. You can honestly lose a match in the first 5 to 10 minutes of the match being open. So just going back and just practicing those openings and making sure that they're crisp and clean, and you're getting into those mid fights at an appropriate time. That's probably what I would wanted to see from 16OT a little bit differently.
Yeah, as you said, it's clockwork for 93T. 16OT, there was definitely some late rotations to the death. They showed off the final skill to the death used by 93T in this top side, trying to push to this last sky altar, saying that, hey, we still had more in the tank if you guys wanted another mid fight. We still got to the death if we really needed it. But yeah, it's definitely been super dominant from 93T, and it's good to see that they're back at it in the top of Osiris League and Horus. And let's see if they could reclaim. They're the current grand finals champions of last season. We'll have to see if they could hold on to their crown, or if one of the teams of Anubis, or maybe Sobek and Basset, the sleeper teams in those regions as well, those realms as well, will be able to make a difference here as we start to see the defense from 16OT, the last stand for the sky altar. But the to the death on the sky altar was a bit too much for 16OT to handle. Just having some fun here in the last couple of instances of this match, just sending troops all over the place. And GG's to both teams. We have 16 OT Tiger with the MVP 420,000 points. But ultimately, it was 93T with the win, 35,000 to 27,000 points. Winning in both arc score, occupation score, not provisioning, but when you win arc and occupation, you essentially win the game. Dirty Dan, do you have any final notes for this game that we have here?
Practice makes perfect, and you're kind of seeing it firsthand here. I mean, you see the rotations from 93T. You see how they don't give anything up for free, and that's on their part of number one experience, but also all of the practice that goes into these Osiris League matches. So for those who are looking to come up and test these giants in these Osiris League playoffs, start practicing now, get ready. And it's been a pleasure casting with you. I believe we might be back next week, but if I do not return, it's been a pleasure, my friend, and it's been a great experience. So thank you guys.
Yeah, it looks like if we're to look at all the other realms, everyone won. Everyone from last week that won as well, except for Anubis. GT won their match against 489, so we will be having 60 GT versus 489 round 3 next week.
Wow.
So be sure to subscribe to the official Rise of Kingdoms channel right here for that match and for the grand finals and Grand Prix that come up later in the year. And if you liked Dirty Dan and I's commentary, we do have YouTube channels as well in the description below. And we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.